the community engagement manager. Um, I don't really have a side gig. I would say probably family and again my grandkids too. So.
Great, thank you. Jerry.
Hi, I'm Jerry. I am the event coordinator at the Chamber, and I have a couple side gigs. I tutor down in Lower Lights I've been with Josh for a couple of years now. And my other side gig is I make my own vanilla extract and looking into other spices and stuff like that to come up with to be able to market.
Oh, that is very cool, unique. Sarah Jackson.
Hi, I am Sarah Jackson, and I am owner of Combustion Brewery and Tap Room in the Pickerington Village. And my side gig is I have two kids who are doing 100% virtual learning this year, so also trying to help them.
For sure. Melissa Wild.
Good morning. I'm with Violet Township. I'm one of the trustees. I'm actually in property management, and I have a little side gig selling oils.
Good, thank you. All right, I see S. Murphy.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Murphy. I'm with Trekkless Communities as well with Brenda and Tracy. And like they said, we are active adult apartment homes in Greater Columbus. We have 3 locations currently and growing, and we're defining 55+ living.
Okay, thank you. Jen Miller, I don't know if you can come off mute and tell us about your business. Then okay, perfect. I see you coming off.
I'm Jen Miller, and I work for Ohio Health at the Pickerington Medical Campus, and I work with the STEM program. And then I guess my side gig is actually my other part of Ohio Health. I'm an athletic trainer, so I pick up extra event coverage when there's not COVID.
Cool. All right, thank you, Jen. Katie, Sally, and Elizabeth. That's the order on my screen. Sorry, Katie White.
Was it Katie White? Sorry, sometimes there's more than one Katie, so just wanted to make sure. Hi, I'm Katie. I am the branch manager at the Sycamore Plaza Library. That's part of the Pickerington Public Library. So, and no side gigs.
Okay, thank you, Katie.
Thanks.
Sally.
Hi, I'm Sally Sutter. I'm the owner of Mermaid Travel, and my specialty is senior travel and accessible travel for seniors.
Okay,
no side gig.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth, and then Michelle K. Adams. That's the order that should be popping up. So Elizabeth.
I am Elizabeth Almeida. My main gig right now is being stay-at-home mom. So my side gig though is trying to get my health coaching business up and running, focusing on moms who are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, trying to keep their family healthy, and also trying to balance their own self-care.
Great, good, thank you. Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle Brown. I'm agency owner of a State Farm agency here in Pickerington. It's full time. I guess my side gig would be my kids who are very active.
All right, thank you. I see another Michelle. I don't know if you want to come off mute, or if it's possible, Michelle, that she logged in twice. I don't know. Somehow I'm seeing a Michelle with no picture, but I also see a phone number with no picture, so I don't know who that is. If you want to come off mute and introduce yourself, you can. Okay, maybe they'll pop on later. Tracy, is it Haltel?
Tracy, it's full.
Okay.
I just took a new position at New Horizons. It's called Supported Employment Team Lead. I help people with mental health or if it's some kind of diagnosis, look for employment. So, and I don't have a side gig other than my daughter.
All right, thank you. And Allison.
Hi, I'm Allison Porche with Gerber LLC. We help business owners build great businesses. and live happier lives as entrepreneurs. And my side gig is I'm an attorney and a mediator, and I do family mediation and elder care mediation on the side.
Great, thank you. I think some of my names shuffled when I went to the next screen, but I'm seeing Kay Adams.
So I go by Zelene, Amy. So it's Zelene Adams, and I'm the CEO of Z Promotions. And Teresa also let you all know that I am the 2021 chair for our Pickerington Chamber. Our purpose at Z Promotions is to get you noticed and make you memorable through creative product branding, and those vehicles being promotional products and corporate apparel. And in terms of a side gig, I don't have an actual side gig, but I truly believe in being involved, and that's something that's a passion of mine. So I do quite a bit of volunteering and board work around the community.
All right, thank you. Again, some names shuffled, so I'm just going to go to the one that's next in my row, which is Darlene.
Hello, I'm Darlene Kuzmic. I'm with ERA Real Solutions Realty. I am the managing partner and cafe anchor for the Pickerington Cafe that's located in the England Insurance Building right in downtown Pickerington. We are starting the commercial division for ERA. It's going to be known as the ERA Commercial Group. And I'll be starting a property management division with that. And we're working on that type of thing right now. I'm also in the last class of taking the classes required through Hondros for the broker's license. My side gig is I love to teach yoga, and I've had and sponsored yoga in the park in Pickerington for the last 7 years. We are sort of on hold right now for COVID, but as soon as they'll allow me, I'd like to have it in the park again. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens there. I love to just be involved in volunteering and so forth in the community. So love to stay busy, stay young, and hoping that this COVID thing slows down or gets out of here as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Agreed. Tracy Wheelard.
Hi, I'm Tracy. I own Central Ohio ISR. I teach babies from 6 months through 6 years old how to self-rescue swim. And I'm also a physical therapist. I work in skilled nursing facilities. I haven't worked since May, though, in skilled nursing. So just doing the swim thing right now. Right now, we're in a camper traveling. We're in Florida doing homeschool stuff.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining today.
Sure.
Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea Spires. I'm the Director of Community Impact at the United Way of Fairfield County.
Thank you. And Desi?
Hi, I'm Desi DeJohn. I'm an AVP with Standing Stone Bank in charge of mortgage lending. I really don't have time for a side gig, but I am very actively involved in nonprofits here in Fairfield County, including the Career Closet with Ms. Spires there. 211 Big Brothers Big Sisters, so I really don't have a lot of time for side gigs.
All right, very good, thank you. Tara?
Hello, my name is Tara Calloway, and I am the Community Development Manager for South Central Power. I don't have a side gig, but in my spare time, I'm a dance mom, so there it is. All right.
Nice. All right, thanks. And Janice.
Good morning, you guys. Janice Francis. I'm with Remax Connection Realtors. I am the owner of the Humble Crate Artisan Marketplace in downtown Pickerington. I am the president of the Pickerington Village Association, and now I'm a new board member for the chamber. So I don't have time for side gigging either.
All right, very good. Now, like I said, people were shifting and some don't have a name on it. So if I missed anybody, you are welcome to come off mute and introduce yourself. So I'll just give you a minute here if anybody wants to do that. Okay. I like to pause because sometimes it's hard to find how to unmute really quickly when you're like on the spot. So thank you everybody for sharing. And I in no means mean for that to be like, you have to have a side gig. I know life is busy enough with kids and grandkids and, nonprofits and all of the other things that you want to work into your life. And so I do have slides I can share. I really prefer to just be able to see everybody's faces and talk, if that's okay. I will bring it up in a little bit when I need it. But so I want to talk about being a goal getter today. And the reason why I emphasize the goal getter part is because I feel like we all can be goal setters, right? We write big lists of goals that we want to achieve, but moving from your list into actually achieving them takes some action steps and a lot of, intentional thinking. So what I want to do first, and I hope that everybody has, pen and paper, can write a little bit. I'm very workshoppy. I used to be a teacher. Like in my introduction, I have a bachelor's in education. So I was a teacher for a few years first. So I still kind of keep all those skills with me. So the first thing I want to do is think about your bigger vision, right? And I like to use the analogy of if you're going on a long trip, you probably would not just jump in the car and start driving because you wouldn't know, which road do you even get on? Do you go north on 71? Do you go, down or across 70? Like you have to have some sort of map. So the first thing is your bigger vision. What do you want for your life? That's your end destination. So I'd like to go through an exercise where, and you might already know this, and it's no big deal. And it might be something that we start right now and you think, wow, I really need to come back to that. I haven't, put enough thought into that, or something's changed. But I want you to picture, like 5, 10, 20 years down the road, because we're all at different parts of our journey right now. But what do you want your life to look like in that time frame? So if you're thinking about retirement, where do you want to retire? Is it going to be still here in Ohio, or do you have dreams to go, somewhere warm and sunny? Is it going to be a beach? Is it going to be mountains? You're going to have multiple locations. So that's the first thing I like to start with, is just the where. Physically, where do you see yourself? Now, it might be that you are not ready yet to think about retirement. You might want to think about, where do you want to be working in 10 years? And I like to use this example. If you want to be able to travel with your kids and work at the same time, and you can visualize yourself sitting on the beach doing this, or maybe you're at the pool, right? And you get to pull out your laptop and work for a couple hours while everybody else is enjoying the beach. If you want that sort of lifestyle, right, you would have to start thinking now about what kind of job you want, right? If you're in a job where you have to be in an office and tethered to a desk all the time, it's going to be hard to get that lifestyle. So if you know that, you can start looking for a job that has that flexibility, right? What's something that I can do on my own? What's something that, can be a virtual job? So those are the kind of things you need to know as far as planning, physically where you want to be, what your lifestyle is like. Okay, so that's part of it. The other part I like to think about, and a lot of people said this, you're not doing side gigs because you have all these extra responsibilities or passions that you're doing. So do you want to set up a foundation? Is that something that's important to you? Well, then that would be part of your vision. And you can start thinking now about, how does that look? Do I need to talk with a specialist to start setting up savings plans for that? What kind of work should I be doing? Who should I be connecting with right now? How can I start networking if I want to set up a foundation, right? If you are working for somebody now and you want to have your own business, go ahead and write that down, because that will help you start planning. If you want to stay in your current job, but you have, you want to jump up a few levels, move up the corporate ladder, so to speak, then that's part of your vision. So I'm going to stop talking for a couple of minutes so you can jot down some of your thoughts. But those are the things I like to start with to get you thinking, is just like your physical location. What does that look like? Oh, I forgot to mention your lifestyle. You know, if being able to be out somewhere because you love to walk or be in the water, you know, if you are a skier and you want to be in the mountains, like all of those things play into it too. You have to think about your health, right? If you're a skier, you probably want to be keeping, you know, tabs of your health so you can do that long term. So all of those things will play into it. All right, now for real, I'll stop talking so you can jot down some notes. Okay, go ahead and jot down your final thoughts. I know that's not a lot of time. That's why I said you might want to pick this up later, and that's perfectly fine. So I'll tell you kind of what my bigger vision is and why I ask all those questions. I do want to see myself and my family be where we can go on vacation and I can still just like pick up my work and go with me. So that's been important for me, you know, in starting my own business. My husband's also an entrepreneur, so that lifestyle would work for us, you know, just getting to that point where we're, you know, secure enough that we can go on just own businesses. I didn't, it's not in my bio, but my side gig, I'm a cause entrepreneur for One Hope Wine. And the reason why that's part of my vision is because when my husband and I would do wine tastings, when the kids were little and my mom would watch the kids, and we could go on vacations and have fun like that. I had told my husband, you know, when I'm older, I want to be this little old lady who's pouring wine for people and just educating them on wine and, you know, being able to be out and socializing and just being around happy people. So joining with One Hope as a entrepreneur and getting my wine education as I go and learning how to do wine tastings, it fits into my bigger vision. The other piece is I've always said that even if we were like millionaires and I didn't have to work, I would volunteer. That's part of my life. And so in finding a side gig with One Hope, and if you're not familiar, go to onehopewine.com and you can learn all about the company. I won't go into that, but they do a big give back to a lot of different causes like supporting veterans and fighting hunger and such. So that piece all fits into, you know, how I want to make a positive impact on the world while I'm making my income. And then I also think about my health and, you know, like Teresa read in my bio, I love working out. Like I would do it way more if I had time to, but I do try and work out every day because I just love that. So those are all kind of like my big vision. And I know that what I'm doing now, my decisions have to fit into, you know, moving me down the road towards that destination. So does that all make sense? Yeah, okay. I guess just from the people I can see here, like show of hands, did you feel like you already have your vision down? It was really easy to just go da 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 da. I already know that. Okay, very cool. And it's okay if you don't. Like now is the time to be thinking about it, right? Every day is, the first day of your future, basically. So you can always start right where you are, which is super cool. So I want to go into, right, I'm going to try to share. Let's see. See if I can pull up the document that I have though. And if not, I will just keep talking through it and I can always send it out. To Teresa afterwards. All right, sorry about that. I had it pulled up and then now I don't know where it is. I will send the document to Teresa and then maybe you can make it available if people want it. But so I have a stat for you, and it's that 92% of people who make New Year's resolutions give up by January 15th. And so why is that? And it's because there's no reason behind it, right? Like sometimes we set goals. I think that we think we're supposed to set like, okay, it's New Year's, I'm gonna lose weight. Do you really wanna lose weight? Or has it just been kind of told to you all the time, or the other people around you are? If you're setting goals like that, it doesn't really mean anything to you. Now, if you say, I'm gonna lose, 10 pounds because none of my clothes fit and I don't have the budget to go buy new ones. Okay, there's a little more incentive there to do that, right? And in things, when you're setting, like we'll talk about resolutions, which are not totally goals, but when you're setting things like that, you have to think about what habits would I have to change or replace, right? The big one is, am I willing? Because if you're setting down a bunch of goals or resolutions, but you're really not willing to make any changes, then you're really not, it's not even a goal. It's just like a wish list, oh, I want to be a size 2, but I want to eat everything that I eat. And I don't ever want to have to work out, right? That's a wish list. I wish I had somebody else's metabolism so that I could do that. That's not really a goal because there's no plan. Which brings me to my next point. One of my favorite sayings, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Love that saying. So a couple of things, the stats that I have on my sheet here are that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down and revisit them. So if you have it on writing somewhere and you keep writing that, 42% more likely to achieve the goal. And you are 95% more likely to achieve your goal if you check in regularly with an accountability person. And that can be anybody, right? That can be your bestie, that can be your husband, that could be a coworker. A lot of times you see people on social media, they put it out there, not necessarily to be, like bragging or to get attention, but once you put it out into the world, now you're going to be held accountable, right? Because you don't want to look silly if you don't do anything towards that goal. So 95% more likely to achieve your goals if you do that. The next piece that I want to talk about is SMART goals. And I have a cute little graphic that I'll send you that really helps. It has all this information. So if you want to make notes, fine, but I will send it out. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So for specific, all right, and I'm just going to use the weight loss goal because that seems pretty universal for everybody. You can relate, even if you don't need to lose weight, we've all been there at some point and we can relate to it. So be specific. What exactly do you want to do? So just saying I want to lose weight is not specific enough, right? Because you'll never know if you've hit that mark really, right? Because does lose weight to you might mean I need to drop the 5 pounds, from Christmas cookies. Whereas to somebody else saying I need to lose weight means they've got 50 pounds to lose. So be specific on what you want to do. So we would be specific and say, I want to lose 10 pounds. Measurable. How will you know when you hit that goal? So again, weight's a really easy one to use as an example. You can get on the scale, you have a number, you can see that. Knowing that you've hit your goal doesn't always have to be a number. It helps, right? Like if it's a sales goal, or if you want to increase, the number of like closes that you get when you go on leads. Those are numbers that you could follow. With the weight, it could be not a number, but I want my clothes to feel better, right? That would be a measurable goal as well. It's not a number, but it's something you can measure. The A is for achievable. So is it in your power to accomplish it? Well, in our example with the weight loss goal, yes, because you have the power to change your diet and exercise, right? Some things, I like to make this point. Nothing, you guys know that nothing's ever like set in stone, right? There's always exceptions to the rule. And this I feel is one of them with achievable. You want to set stretch goals sometimes. You want to set a goal that, that you're not going to knock out of the park in a week, because that's not really a goal. That's just doing something you can do, right? So stretch the limits of what you consider achievable. So if you, from last quarter to this quarter, as an example, your sales increased 25%. A stretch goal for the next quarter then might be, I'm going to increase my sales by 50%. And you might be thinking at first, that's how on earth am I going to do that? If I increased by 25% last quarter and now I'm going to double that, 50%. It's okay to have stretch goals and go for them, because it's all about mindset and you have to put the goal out there to even get it. And I had, here, I'll move on to realistic and then make this point. Realistic is, can you realistically achieve it? So again, stretch goals might be scary. You might be questioning, is this realistic? And somebody asked me in the last presentation that I did, well, what do you do if you don't achieve your goal, right? Because that's kind of scary to put things out there and you don't want to fail. And my answer to her is, if you shoot for way up here and you only made it to here, you still got way farther than you thought you were going to get, right? So it's okay to aim high and miss the mark a little bit, right? When you are going for the goal, your mindset is that you are going to hit that goal and you go all out. When you get to the point where you have to evaluate it, if you fell a little bit short, that's okay, right? That's the point where you can reassess. That's where mindset comes in. That's one of my other favorite topics to talk about. Don't have time to go into that today. But so when I talk about realistic, yeah, you want to think a little bit bigger than what maybe realistic is, okay? And then the T stands for timely. So we have to have an end date on it. Otherwise, again, it's just sitting there. It's a wish list. It's a to-do list, right? How many times have you had a to-do list where you don't get all the to-dos done in that day? So it just moves over to the next day's list and you write it down. And it might be moving from your to-do list for like a week, right? Because there was no solid due date for it. So really important to have an end date to your goal. So going back to the weight loss goal, right? If I say our goal is to lose 10 pounds, I'll know it because I get on the scale. Yes, it's achievable. I can change my habits, all that stuff. I need to put an end time on it. Let's say 10 pounds by the end of March, right? Then I have a definite time. Okay, the other thing that does for me is it allows me to, monitor my progress. So if I know I have 12 weeks to lose 10 pounds, then I would need to lose, a little bit less than a pound every week. right? So that's how SMART goals work. And I tie that again back to your vision, because you have to know where you're headed first, right? So in some of the things that you want for your vision, maybe that is about the weight loss goal or adopting a healthier lifestyle, right? So that you can get to that end goal. And then you can use these SMART goals to help you write out that plan. I'm going to stop. I'm doing a lot of talking. Does anybody have questions about anything that I've said so far?
I don't necessarily, well, I definitely do have a question. So when you were talking about achievable goals, and maybe you can just kind of elaborate on this, can you personally achieve that goal? But then what do you do when you have other people in your life that you need to be able to achieve those goals? So how do you pull those people in and share your goals with them, but also get them motivated to help you achieve those goals? So reliant on not necessarily everything that person does, but they play a part in those goals on what you want to achieve. So how do you pull them in and get them on your team to help you?
Okay, so are you talking specifically about like a team goal? If your team needs to achieve something, or if you have to get your team to do something, like in order for you to get promoted or to a certain
Either that, or even a spouse, like you guys, you have a personal goal, that you want to, we'll just say retire at the beach. How are you going to do that? You have one who has, it's both of your goals, but yet how are we going to achieve it together? What are we going to do to save money to be able to do that? Like so almost holding each other accountable, but how do you kind of, lay out that goal and then hold each other accountable to do so?
Right. So I would say that definitely goes back to the vision and understanding the why and the purpose. And when talking about spouses, right, that can be tricky, because you might have that conversation and feel like you're both really sharing this, right? You're on the same page, but you might be sharing it to different degrees. So that can be a little bit tricky. I would say that's when it's important to really, really be clear, and practice really good communication as far as, why is this so important? And really listen to make sure that the other person or people are truly on board with that. If they're not, then that's going to be your indicator that, either you need to revisit that communication or you need to alter the goal a little bit, right? Because that you cannot make somebody do something that they don't want to do. And, I'm talking about like teams, kids, right? You might have great goals for your kids, but getting them to do those, totally different thing. And you might have to explain why it's so important, but if they don't buy into that, it's probably not going to happen, or at least not happen long-term. So I would say communication is going to be a huge thing there. And really, if it's not like a spouse, if it's more like a team, right? Coaching, mentoring, those sort of things, which again goes back to communication, right? The other thing that I want to talk about, I'm watching our time, is I had mentioned about, are you willing? And that kind of goes in with it too, right? So you would have to make sure that everybody on the team is willing, because if one person is like really trying to drag everybody, that's just going to be frustrating. So in thinking about those goals, and if you've tried everything else, it might come to a time where, and I'm talking more about like with a team, not people like family or a spouse, it might become time where you have to just redefine that to how that's going to look for you, right? So if I am talking more about like work situations, just how can you, what are you in charge of for yourself that you could change, right? So I'm not saying like divorce your spouse if they're not willing to go with your goals. The other thing I had talked about was habits. So I want to quickly, again, that's a whole other conversation, but habits, and I hate to say this, they don't just go away, right? Like you've heard before, if you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. that's all false, right? Like, I don't know where the 21 days came from. I was just reading on that recently. It's not 21 days, and you can very quickly fall right back into it, right? That's why like smokers stop smoking. It's, you know, not just 21 days and they completely never smoke again, right? There can be something that triggers them and they fall back into that. So habits have to be replaced with something else, right? So, you know, if you're used to coming home and sitting on the couch as soon as you get off work, or right now you're working from home, you might move from like your upstairs office to the couch. But if you're used to just being, you know, just having that downtime and sitting in front of the TV, and you want to, if you do want to pick up a side gig, say, well, that would be a new habit, right? You would have to replace, you know, your kind of what your downtime looks like. You know, maybe I'm going to replace my downtime with, you know, finding a side gig that I really love and I'm passionate about, or, you know, go into like, maybe instead of sitting on the couch, I'm going to go for a walk, right? Just whatever would develop into the healthier habit or the goal that you're looking for. So you have to replace one habit with another habit. If you usually go through the drive-through and get a giant milkshake and you're trying to lose weight, maybe you can start replacing that habit with like, do the small milkshake or like the kids frosty or something like that, right? You're replacing it. And then you just keep replacing it until you get where you want to be, you know? So eventually maybe you're drinking water. I know that sounds crazy that you could move from giant milkshake to loving water. It can happen if you just keep, you know, replacing those habits. So I talked about the Are You Willing? I talked about changing habits. We talked about SMART goals. I did mention mindset. Tons and tons of stuff I could talk about with mindset, but I want to start really small here. And just talk about like small concept, not small as far as impact, is the messages that you're saying to yourself. And this would be a great habit to start with, is mind your I am statements. If you really want to start achieving the big goals that you have for yourself, mind your I am statements, right? Like, I am not smart enough to do this. I'm stupid. I'm lazy. I'm all those things that may have slipped into your internal dialogue that you don't even think, or you think it's just, you know, it's just like a joke. I'm just kidding. I know that I'm not really lazy or whatever. Really pay attention to those, because it's kind of amazing what you're telling yourself, what's been a script for years and years and years that's holding you back. So if you can start changing those I am statements. So again, I go back to weight loss, as we can all relate with this. If you start saying, you know, I am a healthy eater, even if you're not right now, there's this concept called cognitive dissonance, where your brain wants to do what you're saying, right? So if I keep saying I'm a healthy eater, my brain's going to start looking for, how can I be a healthier eater? How can I make this a reality, right? So, or let's see, I am, you know, totally capable of learning Excel, right? So if you say that I am capable, then your brain's going to start opening up to go, okay, we can do this, right? As opposed to saying, I'm so stupid. I'm horrible at technology. I can never do this. Then your brain goes, okay, you're right. We can't ever do this. So mind your I am statements. I don't want to keep throwing like a ton of stuff at you that's piece by piece. And that's why I say those are bigger conversations. So I'm just going to kind of wrap up and pull it back together. And then, you know, you're welcome to ask questions. But so when looking at moving from being a goal setter to a goal getter, it's all about the action steps, right? It's not just putting a bunch of things on a list and then forgetting it. It's the action that you're going to take that gets you to be a goal getter. Some of those actions that you can take are minding your I am statements, so that you know you're totally capable of doing all of these things that you want to do, all of your goals. It's asking yourself, am I willing? Because why are you even putting down goals that you're not willing to do? Right? Why even give yourself the frustration if it's something you don't even really want? Just somebody else, you think it's the thing to say. So am I willing? It's knowing what your big vision is. What's your purpose? What's your passion? That's your why. Because again, if you don't really want it, people can try to drag you along into it, but it's not going to happen. It has to be personal to you. There has to be a reason. And then it's just detailing what those goals are in the SMART method, right? Make sure that it's defined, it's measurable, that you'll know when you get there, that it's achievable. It's a stretch goal, but it's achievable. Gives you something to work for, and that you have that time deadline at the end of it. And then the other thing about that is if it feels too much, talking about stretch goals, break it down into smaller goals, right? So give you a quick example. Over the holidays, I wanted to send out thank you cards to all of my One Hope Wine customers who had, supported over the last 6 months. And it just kept sitting on this list. I was like, why am I not doing anything with this? This isn't even hard. It's just sending out cards. And it's just, overwhelming because I had everything else with the holidays. But when I broke it down into, okay, first create the card. So I went to Canva, created my little card. Or I guess it was Instaprint for this one. And then ordered the cards. And then when they showed up, okay, what's the next step? Right? I just had to make my customer list, right? And then I just had to address the cards. And then like a couple days later, I went to the post office, got the stamps, mailed the cards. So what seems like something that's like overwhelming in the moment, if you just write down, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, right? Then they're just little bite-sized pieces. And then boom, that goal is done. So, all right, I'm going to open it up for questions about anything I've said. Like I feel like I've tossed a lot at you, and I want to make sure that it all connects. So if it's not, please, ask your questions.
I wanted to jump in really quick just to echo what Amy is saying as a coach as well, just talking through this. This is something I start with all my clients, especially on the financial side. You have to have goals. I tell them that, and you have to have a strong why. Why are you doing it? Why are you changing your finances? Everybody's like, oh, I want to be out of debt. I want to stop living paycheck to paycheck. But if they're not willing to sacrifice or actually take the plan and put it into action, nothing's going to change. So this is like important across the board for everything. I mean, everything she said is exactly what I do with my clients, because it's very valuable knowing, laying out the SMART goals. How much money do you want to pay off? By when? What does that look like? So, I mean, Amy, awesome presentation, and definitely very, very important to put those things in place if you want to achieve those goals. So I just wanted to echo that.
Thanks, Tracy.
Amy, one thing that helped me, I tried to put this together like 10 years ago, and I've been making progress, but needless to say, there's more progress yet to be made. One thing that helped me was doing your SMART goals for every aspect of your life. You have the spiritual aspect, you have the mental or educational aspect, you have the financial aspect, you have physical, what am I going to do physically to stay fit and things like that. So I did this, like I said, about 10 years ago for like all 5 areas of your growth. So that helped me.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you brought that up. Has anybody read the book, The 12-Week Year? You familiar with that one? So I'll say this, no matter what somebody like me comes and presents on, if it doesn't work into your life and you're not feeling it, you're not going to stick to it. The SMART goals for me is it's like tangible. It's a step you can work through. But I recently read this book, The 12-Week Year, and I'm trying it out right now. And so far I'm really loving it. And it's kind of what you're saying. The author talks about the different like areas of your life. And if you choose, what's the goal for the next 12 weeks that would really make an impact in that area of my life, right? And so he writes out that goal, and then underneath that, he writes out tactics. What are the steps I need to take for the next 12 weeks to make that happen? So I'm kind of resonating with this concept that it's only 12 weeks, right? Like when I went to Ohio State, they were still on trimesters and 10 weeks. I was like, I can do anything for 10 weeks, even if I hate this class. So the 12-week model is working really well for me so far. And it's really easy to check in and go, oh, am I doing that? I need to do better on that. So if you're interested, the book's the 12-week year. You might want to check that out. I don't know if it's like on an audiobook. You could probably get it that way too. I still like to hold paper books. I'm old fashioned that way, but so there are a lot of good tips in there that I've kind of adapted that are working for me. So that might be a resource.
Amy, this is Michelle. The 12-week year, so periodization, which is the concept, and Brian Moran, I have been doing that since 2005. I would just say it's a game changer for both personal goals and professional goals. And it's all about being great in the moment. And it really was started from Olympic athletes. And one of the activities that I like to do with people, specifically around the goal setting, is Brian has a concept of what do I want to have, what do I want to do, and who do I want to be. And I think that putting things in those buckets and then having people create vision boards is a very powerful activity for a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's another thing. This time of year, you'll see a lot of things popping up about your vision board. And that's the other thing I tell people, if that works for you, that's awesome. Like some people really like that visual piece, you know. I've done some of that. I'm also a very much, like I said, pen and paper kind of person. So that's why I like the SMART goals and having a notebook where that's written down. But it is definitely whatever works for you. And whatever method you choose, if it's your vision board or you're writing it down, make sure you keep it where you can see it, right? Because if you do it and then it's out of sight, out of mind, it's really hard to, you know, to be working towards that. Has anybody done a vision board for this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amy, I did want to mention there's a new book out called FOR. It's FOR. It's written by Jeff Henderson, and this is a book about what are you for? It's not what are you against, you know, what, you know, it is basically what are you for? And this is a book that really has been resonating with me. I think it's a good read. It is intended more for businesses and how you can start and make your business better. And how to start out on the right foot and things like that. But it can be very easily modified to what are you for on a personal level as well.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I love book recommendations. I never have enough time to actually get to them all, but I have this running list. So when anytime somebody says something, I'm like, okay, add it to the list. I'll get there.
Amy, I would love to hear from the group. Is there anybody that would like to share your goal for this year and want some help with that accountability? I mean, that's, you know, our women's leadership group comes together monthly, and this is a great opportunity for us all to touch base with everyone and say, okay, you shared with us your goal in the January meeting. So how is that going for you in February or in August? And where are you at on achieving that? So if anybody is willing to share your goal and wants a little bit of help with that accountability, I'd love to hear from the group and see what everybody has going on. Don't all jump in at once. Allison,
I'll go ahead and share mine. As much as I don't want to do this, I will share it. So 2 years ago, I had gained some weight and gained a lot more than I ever had before. I had twins and was bigger than even when I was pregnant with them. So 2 years ago, I started getting very healthy, started running. I've never been a runner. And then I got hit with the death of my brother, the death of my grandfather, hernia surgery. So life has just been crazy. Then COVID happened, as we all know. So I've gained a lot of weight back. And my goal this year is to drop 40 pounds, period, no questions asked, and get back on track. I really, really miss working out. I miss running. I miss eating healthy. Like it's crazy how disgusting I feel every day just from eating. Like, and we're supposed to feel good. So my goal as of right now is to, like I said, drop 40 pounds. I would like to do it within the next 6 to 8 months. I feel like that's kind of setting it a little high if I don't get in gear, but I know I can do it. I dropped 53 pounds the last time. So yeah. Um, so now I need someone to hold me accountable.
So Amanda, I would also ask, do you have, like, as you've thought this through, have you listed out like what are your what resources do you have, and just other like people that you can count on to help you reach your goal?
So I do. I have a lot of resources, which is nice. The people is not the thing though, because the people that I do have people, but it comes back to Teresa and that whole team thing. Like, yes, I might be down for it, but they're not down for it. Or, time. Time is an issue clearly for all of us. I'm a mother of three, a grandmother of one, 2 jobs. So time can be an issue, and sometimes it's not an issue for me because I'm more than happy at times to get up earlier. But then when I, set a time with someone or do something, then it's kind of like, because I do want, I'm actually looking for a trainer right now because I do need someone starting out at this point to hold me accountable, to make me like, what are you doing? Why are you not doing this? I need a
Patient
bully,
needs to
not a
change.
buddy
Thank you,
right
God, for giving me
now.
patience. Loving, kind, and patient to my grandmother.
I'll go, Amy, whenever you want the next person to chime in.
Okay. The one thing I had heard somebody else speaking, and I don't know if they were talking to you, Amanda, or if it was like a side conversation. That's why I kind of paused. But the other thing I was going to mention about this that you reminded me of is like write your plan, right? Because when you're then in the moment and other people want things from you or things are changing, if you have the plan, I love this saying, make the plan, work the plan, right? So you know what it's supposed to do and you just do it. Take all the emotion and everything else out of it, right? So if you know this is your plan, like, and I'll use the example of meal planning. If you have in your notebook, this is what we're eating for the week, you just work the plan. So if it comes to that, and I'm so guilty of this, oh, I know that it says I'm having this healthy meal, but I really want tacos. Everybody else in the family has tacos. Nope, I just look at my plan and work the plan. So there's no emotion in it. It just is what it is. And I go with that. So, talking about getting up early and all that stuff, that at least I'll say personally, that works for me. If I have the written plan and just work the plan and, try and not let the well, I would rather's, the I wants creep in, just work the plan.
Nope, that's my big thing that I wrote down and highlighted is writing down my goals because I know what my goals are. And as far as work, I mean, I achieve them. I'm great on both sides. But for myself, like, I don't know. I'm a great mom. I'm a great wife, but I'm not a great, I don't know, me. So yeah.
So work your I am statements.
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Pay
definitely
attention to
like
that.
that's awesome. That was awesome to hear. So no, thank you.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Allison, I know you're wanting to talk.
So my goals, I started a new job in September of 2019. And with all of the things that happened in 2020 and getting used to my job, I'm wired like a workaholic, but I am working much, much more than I ever planned to be working. And I love what I do, but I'm very exhausted. And a lot of the things that I enjoy have been squeezed out because I just don't have enough hours in the day to get everything done. So my goals for this year are to really change my work schedule, which I've already spoken this week to my boss about doing, and he's completely on board. He doesn't want me working as much as I am. And I am also looking to spend more time out of town. So one of the very fortunate things about COVID is how it transitioned a lot of the work I could do. I worked remotely before, but a lot of mine was face-to-face meetings. Now, with everybody preferring Zoom, I can work from out of town completely remotely with no interruption to whatever I need to get accomplished. So I am in the process of planning my year to spend more time in other places, working, but working in places that, like you said, are more of my long-term plan, which is, living in places other than Columbus and just starting to spend more time in those places now until I'm able to make it where I am more full-time.
Yeah. That's a really good example of a resource that I think sometimes we forget as our bosses. We feel like we have to take everything on ourselves and figure it all out ourselves. And, heaven forbid you talk to your boss because they might think, that you're not dedicated or whatever. But, definitely employers are a great resource too, that sometimes we don't think about.
Well, and I'm also, sorry, I heard someone else start to speak. I'm sorry. I'm also my personal goals. I want to get involved with a new organization that I did volunteering for all of last year, but I want to really get involved. So I've reached out to them. I have a parent who's turning 90 and I want to write their life story. So I called them last week and I set up a time, and I'm going to go every week and interview them and start writing their story, and so I'm kind of making sure that I put those things that are important to me personally back into my life, so that work's going to have to fit around those. And I'm not going to disappoint the people that I've committed to on those commitments. That seems to help me. I guess it's that accountability piece.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. That sounds good. I like that you've made that shift.
Yeah, I'm a work in progress, Amy.
Aren't we all?
As Teresa and I discussed yesterday.
I can go next because I actually just did all my goal planning yesterday. Highly recommend this. It's sold out right now, but if it comes back in stock, this thing is amazing. It gives you just pretty much leads you through setting really good goals and how to break them down monthly and then weekly and everything else for your business or work or whatever. But one of my biggest goals, because I'm just about to hit my first year in business, so I've learned a lot over the last year. And my biggest takeaway from 2020 that is setting up my goals in 2021 is I really want to move more towards a group coaching format and working with more partnerships. I love the one-on-one coaching, but I love helping people more, and I can help more people in a group setting and lower the costs for people that I really want to be able to help. I know some coaching is very expensive, and I don't want to get to that point where it's like, oh, it's $500 a month to work with me. That's not where I want to be. I want to actually help people get out of the space they're in. So I'm moving towards a group format. And so my goal for this year is to launch at least 3 different groups. One for women that are divorced or widowed over 40. I want to launch a group for single moms that are in their 20s and 30s. And I want to launch a group for military and veterans that are in their 20s to early 30s. So those are my 3 big goals for this year as far as group coaching goes. I am already in practice of the first one. The registration for it closes today. So that one I've got a few seats left in that. but pushing away on it. I'm just really excited for this kind of transition and being able to really partner with other organizations and other things in order to really kind of help more people. So that's my goal in 2021, is to kind of get more organized, to be able to launch these different groups and be able to help more people where they need it when it comes to finances and career. So that is my big goal for this year.
And I'm assuming you have all those goals broken down into mini goals and everything you have to do to launch each group and when.
I'm still working on that. I'm using my Trello board to break everything down. So we're getting there one at a time.
Awesome.
Tracy, what was the book you were holding up?
Yeah, it's so it's the Christy Wright, and it's WRIGHT, and it's her 2021 goal planner. She is she runs the business boutique group out of the Dave Ramsey group. It's for female entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. So she makes very customized things to women in that space. And so this is her goal planner. It's not super cheap, I will tell you, but it is filled with all kinds of really good information, helps you with, brainstorming, motivational quotes. I mean, the whole gamut to kind of keep you on track, checklists, I mean, everything. So I definitely recommend it, but it is not, be prepared to put it in your budget.
All right, anybody else? No one has any goals you want to share? You're all good, no problems, everything's great. 2021, no problem. It can be the smallest goal.
Teresa, I'll go ahead and share. One of my goals this year professionally is to, I'm actually the corporate trainer for my company. And one of the things that we're doing, Amy, your presentation came at a perfect time, because we're reading a book as a group called Atomic Habits. It's by James Clear, and he's like a local writer. And he talks about how, you can set your goal, but you have to form a habit in order to reach your goals. And to get to that habit, you have to have processes. So it's along the same lines of that you're talking about. So my goal this year is just to help my team, to motivate my team to not only reach their goals professionally for the company, and to be the best person that they can be professionally, but also from a personal level as well. And so I really appreciate what you had to say this morning, and it really helped me and gave me some great ideas on delivery to them as far as going through our goal process this month of setting our goals. So I enjoyed it.
Good, thank you. I love it when timing just works out, right? No coincidences. Everything happens how it's supposed to.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. All right. So anybody have any questions for Amy? Any additional thoughts you want to share? You don't have to share your goals, any questions that you have. Quiet group this morning. This usually doesn't happen when we're in person. We usually can't get everybody to stop talking.
I can go.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Very, very small goal. I find it very challenging to try to get this health coaching business up and going while also virtual teaching my kids, because every day is different. So I've been trying to just make very mini goals. And so my first one, I finally got my logo done, and I shared that the other day. And I also was able to have a link for people to sign up for a newsletter that I want to do at least monthly for now, maybe increasing that as time goes on and I can get all the kinks worked out. So I actually had 14 people sign up, so I was very excited.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have about 10 minutes left, but I know that everybody has busy schedules. So unless anyone has anything else, I certainly want to thank Amy for filling in. I know it was a very last minute, and thank Allison for of course, helping me. I frantically Monday morning, help, I need a speaker for Friday. We need somebody fabulous that can talk about goals. And we were able to get Amy, which is just awesome. And honestly, Amy, I would love to have you back and maybe in like 6 months and do a touch base with everyone. And we can talk about, how you are going, how you are achieving those goals and what you're accomplishing this year. And maybe in 6 months, we'll actually be in person and we can see each other and talk about that and see results from Amanda and Allison will still be on Zoom because she's going to be traveling. So she's made that goal. So she's still going to be on Zoom, but hopefully somewhere with sunshine and sand or mountains in the background or whatever it might be. So, I think this is awesome. This was great and very timely for me as well. And thank you, Colleen. I love the books are available at the library. So Pickerington Public Library, make sure you stop and get those books. I wrote all of them down and I'm going to be looking at especially that 12-week year is something that I'm interested in looking at and reading and learning more about. And I have my own goals that I need to set. And so I just want to thank you all and for joining us. We will be back next month. As soon as I have the speaker's information confirmed, we'll get that up on the chamber website, just waiting on her information. But want to say thank you all for joining us and certainly Happy New Year. I hope everybody's staying healthy and safe and enjoying time with family and safely and doing all the things that you need to do. And certainly I hope everybody has a great year in business as well. So if anybody has anything else, chime in. Otherwise, we will close today's meeting and just say thank you all again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Everybody have a great Friday, a great weekend, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.